Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Around the League. Today we are touching on another football-only conference in NCAA's Division 1. Now, of course, being a football-only conference, this is traditionally an FCS conference, the Football Championship Series, which is the lower tier of Division 1 football. But this conference is unique of those football-only conferences in that it's not really a combination of any other conferences. Usually you see combinations between two other conferences to make a football-only conference, but this one is kind of freeform. And so because of the fact that it's freeform and these schools kind of come and go over the years, it doesn't really have a range of locations. We have one school in California, we have one school, Minnesota, Iowa, schools in kind of the greater Rust Belt area, and then we got schools on the coast all the way down to Florida. So we're going to bounce around a bit and start in the west and work our way to the east with the 11 schools that make up the Pioneer Football League, the PFL, sometimes just known as the Pioneer League, but Pioneer Football League to differentiate it from the Pioneer Baseball League. But we're going to start with that one school in California down in San Diego with a school that maybe you don't know about. It's the University of San Diego. Not to be confused with California State San Diego or San Diego State University on its own. But the University of San Diego, the Toreros, have a campus that overlooks Mission Bay here. So if we zoom in, we should be able to find the university if we go just to the north of downtown San Diego and San Diego International Airport. Right there, the University of San Diego. If we zoom in here, Torero Stadium, that is their football stadium. And that is the University of San Diego. Let's go all the way, skip over a bunch of states and go to that one school in Minnesota. This is my alma mater, believe it or not. Zoom in on Minneapolis and specifically its twin city of St. Paul. And right about halfway between the two downtowns, you're going to find Allianz Field. That's not where they play. Occasionally they do a couple games a season or every other season they'll do one as kind of a promotional event. But this is the University of St. Thomas. Like almost every school in this conference, except for Morehead State, it is a private school. This one is a private Catholic college, and right there on the western edge of the northern side of campus is O'Shaughnessy Stadium. Of course, St. Thomas made the jump straight from D3 to D1, the only school to ever do that, and as a result, they have one of the smaller stadiums in D1. But the St. Thomas Tommies, my alma mater, like I said, play there at O'Shaughnessy Stadium in St. Paul. Go down to the south to another state capital, and in Iowa, we have to zoom in on Des Moines to find Drake University. And Drake University, going to be located just to the northwest of downtown here in the Drake neighborhood. Right on the northern edge of campus is Drake Stadium, home to the Drake Bulldogs. I believe they won a number of titles in this conference. I could be wrong in saying that they hold the most titles of any active member, but I do know they're up there. Drake's football program has been successful in this conference as longtime members. They've been a part of this conference since 1991. We zoom out here and let's go next over to Indiana. So one school in Indiana, make that two schools, excuse me. First one we're going to touch on is another Bulldog school in the state capital. That is in Indianapolis at Butler University. So Indianapolis, how are we going to find Butler University? If we go straight north of Indianapolis, all the way up to kind of where our North-South Street meets the river, and then we zoom in here on this little side of the river. This is Butler University, home to the Butler Bulldogs. And then, of course, on the northern side of campus there, Bud and Jackie Selleck Bowl, home of the Butler Bulldogs. Another one of those original founding members in 1991, and another school with a blue and white color scheme calling themselves the Bulldogs. The school I almost skipped over in Indiana is Valparaiso University, another school which is a founding member of this conference. If we go over by Gary, Indiana, just south of Lake Michigan, we're going to find Valparaiso. Of course, formerly known as the Crusaders, now known as the Beacons. The Valparaiso Beacons play there at Valparaiso University. Their football teams there on the western edge of campus at Brown Field. Another one of those very small schools for college football, specifically D1. Zoom out here and let's then go over to Ohio. And in Ohio, we are going to have one school in Dayton. Of course, this is Dayton University. So we zoom in on Dayton here, and the university is practically right to the south of downtown. University of Dayton. The Flyers play their football games all the way across the river here. If we zoom in, this big parking lot, this is Welcome Stadium, home to the Dayton Flyers football team. Zoom out here, the next school that we're going to touch on is down in Kentucky. One school in Kentucky, this is the only public school in the conference. This is Morehead State University. Of course, not to be confused with Minnesota State Morehead, a D2 school from the area that I grew up in. But if we zoom in on Morehead, which is just to the east of Lexington here, we are going to find Morehead State University sitting on the northern side of town. And the Eagles play their football games right there. You can't really miss it with the bright blue seats of Janes Stadium. Morehead State University, like I said, the only public school in this football conference. Let's then go all the way up to New York. And in New York, we have a single school in Marist College. So we have to find Poughkeepsie, New York, which is located just north of New York City, all the way up the Hudson here, on your way to Woodstock, or even all the way up to like something like Albany. But if we zoom in here on Poughkeepsie, we should find Marist College just sitting on the northern half of town there. Marist, of course, better known, I don't know if you'd say a basketball school or maybe even a hockey school at one point, but the Red Foxes of Marist College play their football games there at Tenney Stadium. Zoom out here, and we're going to go all the way down the coast to North Carolina. And the school that we're looking for in North Carolina is going to be in Davidson, at Davidson University, or rather Davidson College, excuse me. Easiest way to find Davidson is to zoom in on Charlotte and then go up to Lake Norman. Davidson College, of course, better known as a basketball school, the alma mater of Steph Curry, but their football team, which is the member of this conference, play their games there at Richardson Stadium. Then we go down to South Carolina, and the school we're looking for in South Carolina is Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina. So how are we going to find Clinton? If we zoom in just to the southeast of Greenville, we should find it about 3/5 of the way between Greenville and Newberry on our way down to Columbia. But Clinton is right there. Presbyterian College sitting on the south side of town there. And the Presbyterian Blue Hose, one of the more unique college mascots, play their games there over on the eastern side of campus at Bailey Memorial Stadium, the Presbyterian College Blue Hose football program. And then, like I said, we have to go all the way down to Florida, to a single school in DeLand, Florida. So if we zoom in on the coast between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach, just to the southwest of Daytona is going to be DeLand, Florida. And if we zoom in here, we should be fairly easily able to find, right smack in the center of town, Stetson University, with the sports programs appropriately named the Stetson Hatters. And they played their football games, at least, at Spec Martin Stadium, which is located all the way to the south here, down in the Pine Oaks area. So Spec Martin Municipal Stadium, that is home to the Stetson Hatters. And with that kind of large tour all the way around the United States, those are all 11 schools that make up the Pioneer Football League. Let me know what you thought of this. There are other college sports conferences that we have covered and will cover on the channel. If you just look in the Around the League folder, plenty of other college sports content as well, not just this series. But if you want to check that out, we hope to see you on this channel sometime very, very soon.